I don't think the shaman, from what I've read, is really too interested in defining his role in society. He's just more interested in pursuing his own fantasies. Have you seen him yet?
Yeah, actually I met both Ray and Robby, and meeting Robby was a pretty unique experience. It was filled with it was a very unique, very kind of funny experience meeting him. He actually came to town to Seattle for a Jimi Hendrix tribute night, and so my work had a work party. So needless to say, I had a couple of drinks before the show, and I get to the show and I had someone who got me backstage who I knew, and then there was a guy who introduced me to Robby. So when I met Robby, it was just like, hey, Robby, it's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for your inspiration. Here's this, crystal, stone in honor of my gratitude towards you. And he took it and he goes, hey, it was good, it's nice seeing you again, just before we were wrapping up. And I said, no, I've never met you before. And he goes, you sure we had never met before? And I said, no. And he said, you look so familiar. And inside I was glowing because, as I said in my meditation part, was that one of my meditation would be going back in time and telling the Doors in their 60s, in the 1960s. And I would tell them, you'll hear of me in 40 years. I'll have a gift to offer you. And that gift is Love, Death, Travel. I happen to have a copy for him when he was there. So anyhow, I go upstairs to the VIP lounge, talking with some people, hanging out, and Robby comes in, and everyone's talking, and then it was just kind of basically me and Robby at one point. And I said, I just got on the subject of the script. I said, hey, I think I really, really dig this script. And he turns to me and goes, I think it's a stupid idea. And I'm like, sobered me up really quick, and I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, some guy in LA tried to do the same thing with the play. And I said, hey, look, all due respect to that guy, I go, this has nothing to do with the place. The film is beautiful. It's it's coming of age story. It's just very powerful, and so forth. And so he's like, all right. And I even told him about Ray. I said, Ray even vouches for this. I promise you, it's good. So anyhow, he had to go back and perform again, and so I went downstairs and I did. So I watched him perform, and I'm just kind of blown away. I mean, here's Robby Krieger right, 20 feet away from me, and just jamming on that guitar like he does. And next thing you know, he comes off stage and he's like giving me high five, shout outs, cool. I'm just like, oh yeah, absolutely cool. We're cool. So finally the show ends, and everyone's packing into this freight elevator to go upstairs and finish off the party. So I'm like, oh cool. And, all right. So I go, kind of sneak right into the elevator, and everyone's just like, yeah, all right, we're all going up, And just before the elevator shut, I get a push in the back, and I hear, but not you. And I swear it's Robby Krieger from the Doors just pushing me out of the elevator in front of everybody. And you hear laughter going on, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm tail between my legs, walking out there embarrassed, just like, oh my god, darn it. All right. So I swallowed my pride and said, all right, it's not my time. And all right, that was cool. That was a good experience. It was fun. A little funny story to tell down the road. And but fast forward a couple of months later, I was at Jim Morrison's 65th anniversary party in LA. And I saw Robby, and he saw me, and he gave me a quick shout out and stuff like that. So it was all good, So that was my Robby experience. While I was working on my treatment, getting copyright and everything like that, the voice of intuition kicked in and told me to go down to the Triple Door and meet up with John Doe of the band X, because Ray Manzarek produced him in the 80s. So I went down there and I explained to what I'm kind of doing with this project, and I gave him my packet, and he asked, would you like me to give this to Ray? And I said, man, love it if you did, and thank you so much, and you're great in Roadside Prophets, the whole works, and so I'm, from that motto of giving back, and you see something in somebody else and you pass it on, and that's what I love. I love the connection of dialing someone in, when you know that they've got something good as well, it's great. And it speaks volumes about John Doe, So I contacted the manager, and he said to go through the licensing agency, and they'll send it to him, and if he likes, then we'll go from there. So, I sent all my copyright information, I sent what the project's about, and so forth. And about a week later, I get a letter of denial, and I've hit my first roadblock, and I'm just like, let me explain this, because writing on a piece of paper is one thing, but really detailing the beauty behind this project is another. So, I got a little derailed, but it was time for me to get back on track and just to keep moving forward with this, because I knew the story had to be told, and I got support from friends and family to just keep going, just keep moving, and that's what I did. And then a couple months later, I got a call from an unknown number, and when I checked it, it was Ray Manzarek letting me know that he got the packet from John Doe. And I was like, I was tripping. I was like, oh my God, he wants to know about this project. It's almost like that's the pivotal point in this development, that I knew that I was on the right track in making this, dream possible.
Hello, Brandon, are you there? Ray Manzarek from the Doors calling. I got your stuff. It doesn't tell me what is it? What's shot one? What's the first scene? What's the first half hour? What are you talking about? Characters here, authentic characters. Boy, the four queens, the wild child, and the ancient lunatic. But how does this go? I need to know how this goes.
So finally, I got the courage to call him, and then I made contact. We're talking about the script, and part of me is just like split. Part of me is like, oh my God, this is Ray Manzarek at the Doors. I'm talking to him. This is the guy who influenced me dramatically in my life. And the other part's like, all right, just keep it business, keep it professional, and just like, so they worked together, and it was great. I told him I'd email him the 3 acts of the script, and once I did that, I wasn't really satisfied with what I sent, and I worked on it, and I told him I would send him a nuts and bolts, script. It was very general, very basic, but it gives him a little bit more understanding and gives him something to read, before a South American tour. And and then even a couple of months from that point, I get a call from him. I get a call from him on July 3rd, which happens to be Jim Morrison's death day. So for me personally, knowing that he liked it and he's calling me on that day was very symbolic.
July 3rd at 2:29 p.m. Ray Manzarek, finishing your script. Very interesting, very unusual, very, very clever. I like it a lot.
So I did as Ray suggested, and I called the manager of the Doors a couple of weeks later to kind of see where I stand at this point, and I'm kind of like nervous because he's already denied me, and now he's receiving a script from a member of the Doors, and after he denied me, I kind of wrote a letter, not a bad one, but I was just kind of questioning, why would you deny me so fast when when this project's dedicated to the Doors, but yet you'll put songs of the Doors into movies that have nothing to do with it. So it was one of those, and so I finally get the call from him, and I'm kind of nervous, and so he's what is it? What's it about? And so I'm fumbling over my words and trying to describe it. I'm very descriptive when I'm trying to tell something, and he basically is like, hey, look, in this business you got to be fast and to the point. So I'm like, oh man. So I finally muster up the words and I say it. And he's like, okay, was that so hard? Was that so hard? And I was just like, damn, get back, dude, but, it was business. And so, but in retrospect, 3 things that he did in that 3-minute conversation for me that were like, that I looked down the road and said, oh, that was cool. A, he gave me his time, and B, advice is like, man, say what you have to say and get to the point. And now I know, So it was kind of like this triangle, like, I'll teach you something really quick. Boom, boom, boom. And I was truly grateful just for that experience, man. You know, and at that time, man, I was, I was peaking, man. I was feeling good. I'm getting my dream, my dream is coming alive, and I'm getting all of the doors, and they're liking it. I'm like, this is it, man. And then about a week or so later, my girlfriend and I were expecting a child. We learned that our little girl's not going to make it. There's a lot of complications, and basically, I just, hit a pretty hardcore low. And it was just it took a lot out of me, and at the same time, though, it kind of opened me up to, just kind of question things, but also just to let out this artist inside, and just like knowing that you have this short period of time, and you just got to let this stuff out, and you have so much of it, and just, and in retrospect, it was a blessing for the development of all of this, but at that time, like I said, man, the doors were so influential at coming in the right place at the right time. Whenever time I was going through different kind of stuff in my life, and this time around, the song "Crystal Ship" was very predominant in the role of what was going on, and so the script is, or the song is so very, very powerful. And so fast forward a couple of months, when I went to go see Ray perform with Roy Rogers, they take a little break. It was a beautiful show, man, and comes back from intermission, and he just plays a solo Crystal Ship, and man, I'm just like blown away. It was just a complete emotional, very grateful, experience, and being a part of that. And it was just like, just healing. And just like, thank you, Jim, and thank you, Rowan, and thank you, Ray.